Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Micrososft Flight Simulator. Well, you guys asked for and I provided. You guys were asking if I was going to do a review of the CowanSim Bell 206. I went out, I purchased it, I have it, and today we're going to check it out. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides as well as any future guides that come along down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below, and thank you to all of my current subscribers. Okay, guys, so again, Fly Inside gave me the opportunity to check out their version of the Bell 206 helicopter. I loved it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's one of the best helicopters that I have seen yet to date in the simulator. And then shortly after, we have the CowanSim Bell 206. Now, I believe there are slightly different versions of the aircraft. However, the principles, obviously, of flight and operation are going to be very similar. This one, I will say, has a ton more different liveries. There are absolutely a ridiculous list of it. I mean, and I don't mean ridiculous in a bad way. It's just there are a ton of them. Today we are flying the Durham Regional Police, even though we are actually just southeast of Phoenix, Arizona. But, you know, it's fun. It's a police helicopter. I want to fly it. The texturing and modeling seem to be just about on par with each other, very similar to each other. Again, all of the forward consoles and radio stacks look very similar as to what was provided before. Some of the texturing I actually like better, I have to say it. It really depends on what we're looking at. I'm not going to itemize each one by one. I'm going to let you guys be the distinguishing factor there and make those decisions for yourselves. So if you guys are interested in the differences between the Bell 206 from Cowan and the Bell 206 from Fly Inside, make sure you guys check out both videos. I'll try to remember to put a card up on the screen now to the previous one so you guys can watch them one after the other and make your decision. Now, this aircraft did come around right around $35 US, give or take some change. So price point, very similar. Now, the nice thing about this aircraft is it does not require any third-party software to be running. Now, with that being said, I do not find the Fly Inside to be intrusive at all, but, you know, everyone has their preferences, so I wanted to make sure to mention that. I think that is a critical feature. So let's go ahead and see what we got going on. Now, the beautiful part about this is the startup process should be about the same. I am seeing here, let's actually make a couple of camera views. Looks like we're going to need those. So I'm going to kick myself over to the right here just a little bit. I'm going to bring my camera on up, and let's go ahead and set this guy as Control-Alt and 2. And let's go ahead and reset our default view for what we'd like. And what do you guys think? That's about right? Maybe a little bit further forward. Okay, that'll work. And let me get my head straight here. There we go. All right, so let's come back up top. Oh, what happened there? That was weird. What are you doing? It like reversed it, and I don't know why. Why am I looking at it upside down? Come on, Microsoft, you piss me off. All right, I'll fight with the camera views later. I guarantee that is a Microsoft issue. It's done that to me before on different aircraft. Okay. Anyway, so let's make sure here. All right, so the circuit breakers start out pushed in on this one where they are actually off before. So let's see what we got going on. We should be able to do then. Started goes to starter. Battery. Avionics. Let's turn those position lights on. Anti-collision lights on. Let's silence the alarm. And that one was hidden from me. There we go. Mute the horn. There's the avionics coming on. It's got a slightly different avionics system. Let's see if the throttle is working. So the throttle, I believe, has to be manually cranked. They did say that. So we're just going to start here. Let's see here. I'm not sure how that's supposed to happen. Propeller animation coming alive. Huh, I'm not controlling the throttle, so I'm not sure what's advancing it. So maybe that's a procedure that's coming later. I believe I saw that the throttle control was something that was a work in progress. Huh. No, we need that to move. Okay, I'm a little confused on what's happening here. Okay, so I figured out what our problem was, interestingly enough. Even though it doesn't animate, my axis that I have bound to throttle was all the way aft. So notice as I push it forward, you can hear the pitch changing. And now we have control of the helicopter. Okay, that was interesting. That was an interesting resolution there. So, right there, that's something that's a little goofy because it says in the documentation that it's not mapped to anything. It looks like it is, it just doesn't actually rotate physically. Alright, let's see if we can fly now. Interesting. So as far as the way it flies, definitely, again, very smooth, very well done. Requires very little actuation of your flight stick, or the cyclic in this case. Anti-torque pedals are a bit more sensitive than the fly inside version, but still very on par. It's definitely well done. As I said, the cyclic is very sensitive. I am barely touching it, so just as before, fingertips on the cyclic to control it. Now, again, as with all the versions at the moment, SAS isn't an option, so we don't have autopilot for it yet. See if I can get us into a position where I feel comfortable switching to the exterior view. That weird tumble it does when I first switch is a bug of Micrososft Flight Simulator. And I believe that is just in the beta version. And it's any time that I release the controls and just try to go for the cinematic. This aircraft has a bunch of cool features that are on its way as well, such as movable searchlights and spotlights. that'll be fun to simulate high-speed chases. Oof, oof, rolling it. All right, let's get back inside. Helicopters are like the worst ones to try to fly from the external view, at least from the drone camera. So it's a very well done model. It's a ton of fun. I'm trying my best not to compare it to its competitor. Because I don't want to discredit this developer. He's done a wonderful job with it. I absolutely love the texturing. The model work is beautiful. I think I prefer the sounds of its competitor better. But as far as the flight model goes, I feel like they're comparable. I feel like they're flying very close to the same. There are certain aspects of each that I think I prefer from the other. I'm not sure what that is yet, so don't ask. This is my first time flying it, guys, so you guys are catching everything first impression and in the raw. Frame rates on it, I genuinely think might be better. I'm not going to lie. Seem to be having a much smoother experience, but actually I wouldn't say much. Now I do like the sound change based on the rotor, and we get that from both. This is a really good version. This is quite a competitor. I would actually recommend to its competitor to buy it and tell me what the major differences are if you happen to watch this particular video and you know who I'm talking to. This is very good. The price point is absolutely fair, I think. Again, came out to right around $35 US, I think a little less. So it really wasn't bad at all. And yes, it was purchased. I got it with my own money. And I love it. It's a great helicopter. Significantly more liveries to come with it. It sounds like they are very much so interested in expanding the feature base of it to more emergency base and some exterior options that will make the aircraft a bit more appetizing to some. And so that's obviously a big kicker as well, is what are you getting with the aircraft? What's the potential for it? What's the upgrade cycle look like? And again, it does not require any third-party application. That's always a plus for anybody. So let's see what happens when we go to land it here. Whoa. That was my fault. I got a little too crazy with it. Remember we talked about those gentle movements? I wasn't so gentle. Let's go right over here. It's more or less actually, let's sort of try the hover first. Challenging for both, just as hard to get into as the flying side. So let's try to settle it down, and I'll give you guys my final thoughts on the two here. Let's go. Let's use that cul-de-sac right there. Now, one thing I noticed right away here. Okay. So one of the things I noticed there, and I noticed it a bit on takeoff first, and I couldn't decide if that's what I was noticing, so I decided to wait till I was landing. Very limited impact of ground effect in this version. So here's what I'm going to give you guys as my two schools of thought between the two helicopters, because I know that's going to be everyone's biggest question. So first off, the CowanSim Bell 206 at its price point, I think is a fantastic helicopter. I don't think there's anything wrong with it whatsoever for its price point and what it's offering, and especially the fact that it's using native Microsoft Flight Simulator support system, so no third-party application running in the background. Now, it's perfectly fine. It's a beautiful aircraft. It was a ton of fun to fly. It's fast. It's maneuverable. It's responsive. It's a really good time. And it's got a bunch of features that are coming down the road with it. There's going to be, obviously, autopilot support once it's available. Like I said, spotlights, things like that, things that are going to make the aircraft more fun and expand the appeal to it, as I said earlier. Now, if I'm going to compare which one is better, because I know that's what it always comes down to, it really depends on what you're looking for. Because of the Fly Inside Manager, Heli Manager that they have, so the third-party application that runs in the background that injects the flight model for the Fly Inside helicopter, I find the Fly Inside helicopter to still, in my opinion, being a non-helicopter pilot, feel more realistic in the responses and the overall control behavior of the aircraft. Ground effect is definitely significantly different. In this particular helicopter, there was almost no ground effect at all. So as we got lower and started getting into that pillow of ground effect generated by the rotors underneath us and that air generated underneath us, it should have become a little bit more unstable. It should have become you sort of sit on a pillow for a second, and then just like with a fixed wing, you sort of feel the aircraft sink down into it as the ability of lift gets reduced. I didn't feel that at all with this one. I just sort of sat down, like there was no change whatsoever in the behavior as we got lower, and I do not believe that is supposed to be realistic. So I'm going to say, once again, it depends what you are looking for. If you want a more challenging helicopter, I believe the Fly Inside takes the pickle. If you just want a good helicopter that's fun and a great time and doesn't require anything else outside of Microsoft Flight Simulator, I would say still either one. But the Cowan is a perfect aircraft to pick up. I think that they've done a beautiful job. I do not want to take away from that. The only reason why I mentioned the Fly Inside comparison is because I know that many of you were going to ask down below. So I want to make sure to bring it in, because I know that's why I was asked if I was going to review it, because it was only days after I reviewed the Fly Inside. They're both amazing helicopters. They're both beautiful helicopters. The texturing is great. The modeling is great. They're fun to fly. They're responsive. The sounds are great. The animation are great. Obviously, like I said, I have favorites on both sides, depending on where we're going. The startup process was a little tricky, but you just had to figure out that, yes, the throttle access does actually impact the aircraft. Like, for example, I just put my physical throttle back to idle, and it didn't change anything, but it was absolutely changing something behind the scenes, because once I put it up to full aft, I was able to or full forward, I was able to take off. So goofy things like that, nothing critical, and I'm sure something that's going to be addressed rather soon with the helicopter. To the developer, you did a wonderful job. I am very happy with my purchase. Again, guys, I purchased this aircraft for myself, so that way I could do the review for you guys, and I'm happy with it. I'm very glad that I did it, and I'm excited to see some of the features that they are going to be bringing to the simulator. Again, like the spotlight, that actually sounds like fun to me. I could think of it. I love to daydream and imagine things going on and make my own simulations in my head. I can do that without any other application. So, I'm excited for those kind of features. I'm totally down with that. So anyways, anything I say from here on out would really just be repeating myself. I'll let you guys be the judge of which one you'd like to grab. Personally, I'm very grateful that I have both of them. So, because I think they both have their points in which they shine. But both of them I also believe are very worth their money. So as always, guys, stay safe and healthy. Hit that like and subscribe button. Ring the bell for notifications of future content. I'll see you in the next one.